This is Fred Beck from Fred Talks team. Today, I'm very lucky to joined by Ade Oladipo. So thank you very much for coming on, Ade. It's good to see you, mate.
Good to see you too, Fred. Man, you've been doing your stuff. I've been seeing a load of interviews going up with people way higher than me in the industry. So well done with what you've been doing.
Oh, so you've been watching them. That's crazy. You watched them.
I've been watching them. Yeah, I've been watching them because I saw the John Kavanagh one, which was like, geez, John Kavanagh. So look, you've been doing your stuff, and more power to you. I certainly didn't start at your age. So the fact that you've got the guts and the courage to do this, it's not easy to do interviews. So to do this at your age, I applaud you.
Yeah, I got very lucky at John Kavanagh interview because I sent him a DM one day. Well, it was only the fourth interview I ever did. So it wasn't a great interview, but yeah, so I just sent him a DM and then he replied because he does see it, or I shouldn't say this, but he does see it all his DMs. But he's
Yeah,
Conor McGregor fight week, he's very busy. So
yeah.
you're very busy as well. You're with Talk Sport, Sky Sports, and your channel. But you've also got a new studio. How's that?
Yeah, we got the keys to the studio, what, 4 or 5 days ago now, and I can't lie, it's daunting. Like you go in there, I'm about to go over and look at it again. So much to do, but what I wanted to do was trying to get a studio, which was just a blank canvas, so I can then kind of sort of put my mark on it, rather than going to a studio that's almost built already for you, and you just go in, you plug your microphone, and you walk out. I wanted my own studio to almost kind of reflect what I'm trying to do here, but on a bigger version. So it's a bit of a risk, but life's about risk, right? And I'm sure it's going to work out. But yeah, a lot more harder than I probably expected. But hey, it is what it is.
So you're gonna have all your videos in that studio, or just the live streams you're gonna do?
No, everything. So what I wanted to do, I almost wanted to separate, like you say, I do sort of Sky, Talk Sport, BT Sports. And the last thing I wanted to do was come home and do more work. And obviously when I'm sitting on the green chair, it's home, it's work. So I almost felt like, okay, we need to stop. Once I get through the door, work stops. So I want to separate it now completely. So everything I do is going to be in the studio. The good thing is, Fred, is that the studio is only 5 minutes away. So
Oh,
even if something happens, I can quickly just drive to the studio and record it anyway. But yeah, no more filming. Fingers crossed, in about 6 or 7 weeks from the house, it will stop and we're doing everything in the studio.
yeah, I can understand that. Because I remember when I was doing online school around about Christmas time, I always like coming into the house and just chilling rather than doing school from home almost. And I remember
Mm.
lost your supporters when you got your wall color changed because it's kind of like midnight blue now. What color is the wall going to be? White or blue?
Blue. We're going midnight blue. And the funny thing is, it's white right now, but it just doesn't work for me. I'm a fan of that kind of dark, sort of pub kind of feel. Especially now that I'm going to be in the studio, I want the guests to kind of walk in and just feel relaxed. And I think once you get a relaxed guest, they're more open to say things, more open to talk. I think a white wall, kind of everyone's bright and beady eyed. And I just kind of want everyone just to take, almost take your slippers off when you get inside the studio and just chill out. So yeah, everyone had a heart attack when I painted this wall this color. It was white before. Now everyone loves it. And it actually works with the green chair, the kind of
Yeah, it
dark wall
does.
and the green chair. I think it's got a good contrast. So yeah, we're going to go this color, maybe even a bit darker, but we're going to have loads of lights in there as well. So look, loads to come. Honestly, loads to come, Fred. We've got to soundproof it. I'm going to get a logo. I'm going to go and see a logo shop about getting a nice little neon logo sign done. So a lot of money spent, a lot of good things planned, but it's all going to be fun. I can't wait to do anything.
I think one person who does the live streams perfectly is I don't know if you've seen him, True Georgie. When he does
Mm,
streams, those are perfect. The mics, the camera, he's got a whole camera crew setup, and I think it's like a lot more. There's a lot more work to do behind the scenes than people actually realize because you've got to look
yeah.
which mic's best to buy. You've got to go find call the painter, all that sort of thing. But are you going to be looking to do YouTube full time then, or is that just like in the future maybe that's something on your mind?
In the future, it's definitely on my mind. But I'm lucky. I'm in a position now as a broadcaster where there's quite a lot of work for me. But at the same time, that can end very quickly in this world. So in an ideal world, the YouTube is the thing that I do going forward permanently in the next sort of year, 2 years. But for now, I'm just going to try and juggle them all. I'm lucky, or some might say unlucky. No wife, no kids, but that means I can work 100 miles per hour, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So that's what we're going to do for now. We're going to juggle it all. We're going to juggle Talk Sports, Sky, and the YouTube. But when it gets to a stage where the YouTube almost pays for itself and takes off, then I probably will stop one of the others, or maybe stop everything and just do the YouTube, because there's nothing I love more and nothing I feel more comfortable doing than sitting here in this green chair talking. There's no pressure. It just feels easy. It's kind of very natural to me now. And I want that feeling full time. So if I can get that feeling full time, then we're going to just do YouTube forever.
Yeah, I mean, the YouTube videos are awesome. And when you know how you
Thanks, bro.
the laptop on your lap, do you do it all the top? Do you do all the videos on the top of your head, or do you write a load of notes beforehand?
No, top of my head.
Oh wow!
Top of my head, literally. So normally when I start and I say good morning everyone and I'm typing, that's when I just go on to maybe Boxing Scenes page or wherever, and I just look at and I just go off the top of my head. I don't even look at the subjects. So the first time I'm reading it is the first time I'm seeing whatever I'm talking about, and then it's just off the top of my head. Which is why sometimes there could be mistakes. Sometimes I might get a fact wrong or this or that, but I prefer that. I just go off the top of the dome with a coffee in my hand, as you always see I do, and that's it. We just go. Obviously, look, again, that's probably why I love doing it, because there is no preparation. I can't do that at TalkSport or Sky Sports. You're talking weeks sometimes to prepare for even an hour segment, but this is more like the fun stuff where I can just go.
Yeah, it's kind of like Time Booth almost, instead of the coffee, instead of wine. And because he told me, I was going to ask the same question. He does it off the top of his head as well.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the boxing upcoming fight between Wilder and Fury. The thing I find almost quite odd about boxing in a way is, as soon as the fighter loses, I will use Lomachenko, Wilder, they're just immediately counted out. Because now they say, four kings of the lightweight division: Lopez, Tank, Garcia, and Haney. And then it even includes Lomachenko, which I always find odd. And that's the same effect that's happened to kind of Wilder. What do you think about this fight? Because I feel like a lot of people are underestimating Wilder.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? I mean, Lou DiBella, one of the promoters in America, recently said, if Wilder loses, that's probably that. And I'm like, well, 1 second. If he loses, he would have lost to the number one heavyweight on the planet. It doesn't mean he can't fight number 4, 5, and 6. I guess it's how he loses. That's the issue, right? If he gets knocked out or he gets beat the way he did in the second fight, then yeah, it probably is that. And Wilder will probably call it that as well. Remember, this is the guy that's going to be 36 in October. But look, he's got that X factor, Fred. We know that punch is real. It's like it's a forehammer in his right hand. And if it lands, then Fury could be in problems. But I feel like he should have more than that. At this stage of his career, 36, you should have more than just a puncher's chance. And I kind of look at his trainers and say, okay, what have they done to improve that? Maybe Malik Scott coming in now has done added a few more different tricks to his arsenal. But for me, I only see Fury winning. I think Fury, look, the worst Fury got a draw and I think a win against Wilder, the worst Fury I've seen. The best Fury beat him convincingly. And I think this guy right now is still the best Fury. So I think Fury's going to do exactly what he did in the second fight.
Yeah, it's a very good point saying the worst Fury beat him. Obviously, again, one time. And what I find almost quite annoying about the press conference, he's made all these remarks about his suit being too heavy, the spiked water, and then it's kind of like you have to be arse-kissy to Wilder to get an interview with him, because I always watch Ellie Setback. I think he does very well for himself. He has 600,000 subscribers. He's a great reporter, but he's incredibly biased. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I think I remember I've kind of watched ES News, Ellie Setback for a few years, and you have to give someone credit, like you say, 600,000 subscribers, although it was a lot more than that. A few people have unsubscribed, and they've unsubscribed because of what you said. He's incredibly biased. I think he's a bit of an arse kisser when he does his interviews, and I never feel like I'm getting a genuine interview from him. And look, sometimes that's how you might have to be to get the interviews. It's not easy to get interviews from these boxers, right, and to stay on their friendly side, and I think that's what he's trying to do a lot of the time. But in his position where he has grown his channel to the size it's grown, ask some tough questions, man. I mean, you've got Wilder in there, ask him some tough questions. If you are accusing Fury of tampering with a glove and drug cheating, I think Ellie Setback, as a journalist, and that's what he is, should be asking Wilder these questions. So yeah, it is disappointing. It is disappointing to see. And it's not just Ellie Setback. There's a lot of broadcasters and journalists that are like that with boxers. They're not like that with any other sports. You go and watch how footballers get interviewed and basketball players get interviewed. It's not the same, but for some reason in the boxing world, everyone feels like they're treading on eggshells when they ask a tough question. And that's partly why I prefer to do what I do rather than go out and interview. So I feel like when I'm sitting here, I can just be as genuine as possible. I feel like if I was to go out and interview, I don't want to be in the predicament those guys have been, where you almost feel like if you don't toe the line, you might not get press passes, you might not be able to get the interview again. And that's not a position I want to be in.
Yeah, I see what you mean. But then it's also quite hard what you're doing in a way. It's sitting in a chair and talking about it. You might not slag off a fighter, but you might say, "Oh, I wasn't very impressed with their performance," and that
Yeah.
I might watch it as well. Have you ever had that?
Yeah, a lot of times, if I'm honest with you. And it's tough, obviously, because with working for Talk Sport, I have a show with Gareth A. Davis where we speak to the fighters, and I've felt like some fighters have been a bit frosty, maybe towards me. Maybe that's because of something they've heard. So yeah, it's tough. It's not easy, and look, I understand as well. Imagine if you're a boxer and you've tried your hardest, and then on the Saturday you lose, and on the Monday there's a guy in a green chair who's never had a fight in his life slagging you off. I mean, it can be difficult, but I mean, people want honesty from me, and I've got to give it honest as I can. There was a couple of years ago, Fred, where I used to be a lot worse than I am now. I feel like I've calmed down a lot. There was maybe a couple of years ago, maybe even longer, when I used to be very brutal. I've kind of grown up now where I'm not as bad. So yeah, hopefully I don't piss off, pardon my French, piss off too many fighters in the near future.
Yeah, I understand, and that I think what you do is a lot harder as well. Talking for a straight hour, I don't know if I could do that. But another big fight that's coming up, American, another pay per view in America. There's a lot of pay per views going on in America. Spence Pacquiao, obviously, that should be pay per view.
Yeah.
But I see a lot of people saying this is kind of the passing of the torch. And Spence,
Mm.
I remember I always listen to Steve Bunce, who's blocked me on Twitter, by the way. Says, Steve, if you ever see this video, please unblock me on Twitter. But I always
I'll let him know.
I always listen to his podcast with Mike Costello. It's actually really good. And he was saying that he's comparing it to Manny's fight with Oscar De La Hoya. But Manny's in Oscar De La Hoya's shoes this time because Manny, he was the last in the ring, 2 years ago against Keith Thurman. I mean, that's a great win. But that's 2 years ago. Do you think Spence will win, or how do you see it going?
Yeah, look, firstly, I think Steve's probably got it wrong in that comparison with Oscar. I think Oscar hadn't fought at 147 pounds for so long. It was campaigning at light middleweight for ages. So even Oscar coming down to 147 was going to kill him. It was going to drain him. Manny Pacquiao was happy to fight at 147. Manny Pacquiao could make 140 pounds. He's a small man. I still think there's a bit left in Manny Pacquiao. I didn't think there was anything left in Oscar. Errol's obviously the favorite. I mean, this guy is a massive 147 pounder. Should really be fighting at light middleweight. He's that big. He's unbeaten. He's the fresher of the two as well. I say fresher in the sense that there is no wear and tear on his body. Yes, he had the car accident, but he's recovered from that. Manny Pacquiao's been through some wars. 20 years in the ring. He's been through a lot of ups and downs. But I mean, a lot of people didn't pick him when he was fighting Thurman, and he shocked a few of us there. It would be a colossal upset if Manny Pacquiao was to beat Errol Spence. I've said this on my channel that if Manny Pacquiao beats Errol Spence, then we need to start having a GOAT conversation, like greatest of all time conversation with Manny Pacquiao, because he has no right beating the unbeaten Errol Spence. But fantastic fight. The Ring Magazine belt's on the line as well, which always adds a little extra spice to it. But yeah, you'd have to favour Errol. You have to. Manny Pacquiao's 41, fighting a young, big Errol Spence who can punch, who can take a punch as well, which might be key in this fight because he will get caught against Manny Pacquiao. But yeah, my money, and I've not got no money, but if I had money, it would be on Errol Spence.
I mean, this fight came out of nowhere. Not even Mike Coppinger or Michael Benson, who tweet every minute, they didn't pick up. And as well about this fight, Spence is massive at 147. I mean, Spence can go up to 154, and I'd definitely be comfortable with that weight class. So you're going with Spence or Manny?
Yeah, it's got to be Spence. I mean, I'd like to see Manny causing some problems. I'd like to see Spence come through some adversity, and everyone think that Manny's got the chance, just because you don't want it to be what I don't want is an Errol Spence Mikey Garcia fight where Errol basically won every round. I want Pac-Man to cause some issues, and I think Pac-Man will causing some issues because Pac-Man. One thing about Spence is that he's a bit flat-footed, and Pac-Man's not flat-footed, right? Pacquiao can go everywhere, so I think Pac-Man will cause them some problems. But in the end, a good big guy beats a good little guy, and Errol's a good little guy. Sorry, a good big guy, and I think Pac-Man at this stage of his career used to be a great little guy, and now he's just a good little guy.
Yeah, I know. That's what's so good. Not a lot of people, I think Conor Benn as well. Conor Benn's picked Manny to get the win. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are picking Manny, which I always find quite surprising. But Manny does pick up the win there. The GOAT conversation will come about. I only have one more question, so I don't take too much of your time up. But
No. Carry on, Fred. We're good.
I know you cover boxing and I know you cover football as well. Who do you think is going to make it all the way?
I'd like to think so, right? I mean, it's Denmark. That's the next game, semi-final. I don't know when this video is going to. Obviously, that game's in a few hours. And then potentially Italy. Italy's going to be tough. Italy haven't lost for 3 years. since Roberto Mancini took over of the Azzurri. They look fantastic at the back. Bonucci, Chiellini. I mean, they've got a team of just runners and winners and guys that just, when they sing that national anthem, the pride that comes through the veins is incredible. They've got this will to win that's just undeniable. And it's difficult to pick against a team that haven't lost for 3 years. In saying that, England could go to the final having not conceded a goal, which is incredible to think, right? And they've got all the players fit. They've got Harry Kane scoring again now. Sterling looks like one of the players of the tournament. And in Pickford, they've got a goalkeeper who I thought leading up to this was a mistake. Now all of a sudden he's not making mistakes. So England look good. So look, fingers crossed we can get past Denmark. And if we do, England, Italy is going to be crazy. I'm going to be there for the final, which is unbelievable. But yeah, England, Italy at Wembley, 60,000, crazy.
Yeah, I know, it certainly is. I kind of compare England to, they're quite awkward. I thought that I compare them to Kid Galahad in a way, where they don't actually concede any, like don't take many punches, but always gets. I think England will get to the final. I'm not sure about the Italy game though.
Yeah, no, Italy's a tough one. I like the Kid Galahad comparison there because you're right. Kid Galahad doesn't take many punches, but doesn't throw many either. I remember watching that fight against Josh Warrington. I was like, come on, let your hands go, man. Kid Galahad is an interesting. Obviously, you've got that fight coming up against Jezza Dickens. He needs to do something. You don't get these many chances. Hopefully, he takes his chance this time, and then he can go on and do something at the world stage. And I mean, top of the tree world stage. We'll see. But I like the comparison between England and Kid Galahad. It's very, very, very adept.
I thought that the other day. I was quite pleased with it. All right, AD, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. I'll put your channel in the description. Where can people find you on social media at them?
Yeah, so social media, everyone can follow me. My Instagram is ade.oladipo. So thank you to everyone that's going to follow me. And Twitter is ade_Oladipo1. I need to make that a lot easier. Ade_Oladipo1 is a Twitter handle. Follow me on Twitter because I say some crazy stuff. I love Twitter and I hate it at the same time. It's a crazy place. It's almost like the wild, wild west of social media. So you've got to be careful sometimes in that place.
I mean, after the England games, normally around the 11 a.m. to 4 a.m., 11 p.m. to 4 a.m., there'll be a lot of crazy stuff going on Twitter because they want to be drunk. All right, Ade, thank you so much for your time today, mate. Ade, sorry. Thank you so much for your time today, mate.
Cheers, brother. Good luck with everything you do, Fred.